Picture this. You're walking through a busy city street. Suddenly, you see someone dancing. Okay, weird, but not crazy. Then another person joins, then another. Soon, dozens of people are twisting, spinning, collapsing in exhaustion. But they can't stop. And here's the kicker. There's no music playing. This isn't a festival or a prank. This was real. And it happened in 1518 in the city of Strasbourg. The event became known as the Dancing Plague. It all began with one woman. Frau Trophea, a housewife, suddenly walked into the street and started dancing uncontrollably. At first, people thought she was possessed, or maybe just drunk. But after hours passed, she was still moving, drenched in sweat, her face pale. And then others joined. Within a week, more than 30 people were dancing nonstop in the streets. By the end of the month, the number had grown to hundreds. Imagine walking to the market and seeing half the town, just breakdancing for their lives. The city authorities were panicking. Doctors couldn't explain it. The local clergy thought it was punishment from God. And what was their solution? You're going to love this. They actually brought in musicians and built a stage, thinking that letting people dance it out would cure them. Yeah. Spoiler, it didn't. People kept going until they collapsed, some even dying of strokes and heart attacks. The city basically turned into a silent rave, without the fun. So what caused this madness? Historians have debated it for centuries. One theory says it was ergot poisoning, basically a fungus on rye bread that creates LSD-like hallucinations. Another theory? Mass hysteria. The people of Strasbourg were stressed, starving, and traumatized by famine and disease. Their minds cracked, and the dancing was a psychological release. Others say it was tied to religious cults, like a ritual gone out of control. The truth is, we may never know for sure. As the plague spread, more and more dancers collapsed in exhaustion. Authorities tried moving them to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers. Yes, that was a thing. The idea was, pray, bleed their feet. Maybe the saint will forgive them. Eventually, after weeks of nonstop chaos, the dancing finally slowed down. But by then, dozens were dead, and the story had already cemented itself in history as one of the strangest mass events ever recorded. Now, before you laugh and think, wow, people back then were crazy, remember, mass hysteria still happens today. Think of the Salem witch trials, or modern-day panics fueled by social media. Even TikTok trends sometimes spiral into dangerous territory. Our brains are wired for group behavior, and when fear or stress spreads, logic takes a back seat. The dancing plague wasn't just about people moving their feet, it was about how fragile human psychology can be under pressure. So what do you think? If you lived in Strasbourg in 1518, would you have joined the dance or run for your life? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into one of history's strangest mysteries, hit that like button. Share this with a friend who loves a weird history, and subscribe to Epochlight. Because trust me, there are plenty more stories like this waiting for you.